Hello, everybody. Up the Villa, there has been a big development in Aston Villa world. My phone has been ringing off the hook, WhatsApp going crazy, Twitter in meltdown. Um, Danny Ings has reportedly, for now, joined West Ham United for what Sky Sports say is £15 million. What is there to say, really? Seems to be quite a divisive move. Some people seem very unhappy about it. Others are somewhat more okay with it. I think I rest in the kind of okay camp. Do I want to see Danny Ings leave right now? It's probably not ideal considering that Ollie Watkins appeared to pick up an ankle injury. Most recent Leeds. John Duran is 19, new signing, untested. Cameron Archer's gone out on loan to Middlesbrough. And Danny Ings is our top scorer this season. So, yes, you can see why people would be pretty concerned about that. It does make us look a bit light up top, but you try and think of it in a level-headed way, and that is that, ultimately he's 30. He's on a big contract, earning big wages every week. I think about 125,000 a week. We spent a lot of money on him, and ultimately Villa have spent a lot of money over the last few years, and you do have to wonder at some point when financial fair play is going to come into the equation. So, particularly if Unai Emery wants to invest heavily in his own squad and his own players. And it's intriguing that we bought Alex Moreno last week, when we already had a left back and Luca Dean. Now, there's various ways you can look at that. Could Moreno play ahead of Dean? For sure. But it does make you wonder whether we look back on the last year and a half post the Grealish sale and wonder whether those heavy purchases have really worked. I would say almost all of them have been inconsistent, bar Boubacar Kamara, who was on a free, of course, big wages, but he's been a super signing. But with Ings, Ings is a very talented player, but he hasn't always looked like he fitted in at Villa. I think the day that we saw his picture appear on Instagram, which I think was the day Grealish left for Manchester City, it was surprising, very surprising. It was, it's exciting. Danny Ings, he seems to always score against Villa, as does every good striker. He was a big name, and you would back him to score for Villa as well, which he did. But he didn't score to the same level that he did previously at Southampton. And I think one of my first initial reactions to seeing that Ings had signed for Villa was, well, what does this mean for Ollie Watkins? What does this mean for our formation, for our shape? And to be honest, I don't think Dean Smith, who was manager when Ings came in, really was able to work out what to do with both Ings and Watkins in the same squad. Hence, Ings spent a lot of time on the bench. And it also meant that we had to play around with new formations, and it never just quite felt we were able to strike upon the right formula. Did it mean should Watkins have gone out wide in a 4-3-3, playing where Grealish used to play with Ings in the centre, or would we go to a 4-4-2 or a 3-5-2? And the fact that Ings and Watkins haven't really played up front together under Unai Emery would suggest to me that he doesn't believe that formation or that partnership really complements each other greatly. I like Ings, and I'll always be happy to see him come back to Villa Park, where with West Ham, even though he'll almost definitely score against us. But no hard feelings at all with him. I think he's done well, given the circumstances that he came into Villa, into a system that he doesn't necessarily fit into. A lot of the time, he didn't seem to quite look like he was on the same wavelength as some of the other players. But he also scored some really memorable goals, and he scored an important goal recently against Wolves as well. So I think getting £15 million for him now when he's 30, not a long left on the contract, big wages, and West Ham are in real need of a regular goal scorer. I think that does make sense, and it does leave us light up top. It does leave me kind of intrigued to know whether we have a player coming in or whether Emery believes that Duran can step up already, or he's going to say to Bailey, Watkins, and maybe even Buendia, possibly even John McGinn playing off an Ollie Watkins or Jacob Ramsey, whether he's going to experiment a bit with the forward line towards the end of the season, because let's face it, we're probably not going to get relegated, but we do want to push for the top half. I say probably not, because who knows what the hell will happen, but the likelihood is with the points we have now and the form we're in, we're probably not going to get dragged back into the relegation dogfight, which is a real dogfight this year. And hopefully we'll give playing time to Duran, who hopefully Villa see as a key player for the future. And that should hopefully be a good thing. But I wish Danny Ings well, just as a Villa fan perspective. I understand a lot of the concerns about, a lack of strength up top, but I firmly believe in Unai Emery. This is a man who's won 4 Europa Leagues. He's excelled at teams that are similar in size to Aston Villa and Sevilla, Villarreal, Valencia. So I totally agree with believe in his judgment, and think that if I were a gambling man, I would say Villa probably have another forward coming in. I think Gerard Deulofeu is one I'd be most inclined to think will happen, but no, in Villa, it'll be someone completely out of nowhere. But yeah, good luck to Danny Ings, and hopefully Villa can just keep going strength to strength. And yes, there are concerns about him leaving, but also I do understand it too. So up the Villa, and this seems a bit like, this is kind of like that Perslow video, isn't it? After Grealish left, like trying to explain things. What am I doing on my own talking? Whatever. Up the Villa, and like and subscribe.